If I may, I would like to, Madam Deputy Speaker, just address a very specific issue relating to a social housing enterprise in my constituency, which also operates across large parts of Berkshire. And I have to say that I've been deeply disappointed by this organisation. It's called Housing Solutions, and I'm afraid, I have to say, and I would also ask for the Minister's help with this, that they appear to have very badly let down a number of residents in Woodley, which is a suburb of Reading, as I mentioned earlier. And the issue here is that this organisation has applied for planning permission to build properties next to a transport depot where there are a lot of HGV movements on an industrial estate, and these properties have then been sold in a part ownership scheme to local residents who are desperate to get on the housing ladder and were finding it quite difficult because they're on modest incomes. The local authority gave planning permission, it carried out all the relevant checks, and this is again Wokingham Borough, not Reading Borough, and there was nothing in planning law to stop these flats being built next to a haulage yard. The local authority looked into it and they weren't able to reject the plans on that basis because they were so close to this piece of business, which is obviously noisy and polluting. What they were able to do was to try and insist on conditions on the development, and sadly, Madam Deputy Speaker, it appears from lengthy inquiries from my office and also from one of the local councillors, Councillor Shirley Boyt, that these conditions have not been met, and in particular that residents, including a constituent of mine who lives in this development, were not told that they would need additional changes made to these properties, and they were not told to adapt to air quality problems such as mechanical ventilation and other forms of enhancements to the properties. And they were also not told about the problems with the noise and pollution from the depot when they purchased the properties. And that's resulted in around 20 families being trapped in flats that they do not want to be in, suffering from noise and air pollution. The local authority has tried to find a way of bringing their properties up to spec. It's insisted on the Housing Solutions Company doing this. There's been a great deal of delay. This has gone on for 5 or 6 years. Some of the residents, sadly, have moved away, and they're now having to pay for the cost of living in these properties and also living at a new address. But they're deeply concerned about their children's health and their own health. This seems to be an egregious abuse of this situation. Whilst it is not directly related to leasehold, it has many of the same features where a powerful organisation, sadly, seems to be abusing its position of power, and ordinary householders are struggling and are provided with incorrect information. And I would like to write to the Minister and ask for his help on this matter, because it is of huge concern to me and to the local community and to the residents concerned. They seem to have been treated appallingly by this housing association. These are ordinary families trying to get on with their daily lives who want to be able to find a home of their own in a high-cost area, and they are being treated in the most appalling way by an organisation that should be much more responsible. And as I said, we have been struggling, my office and myself and local councils have been struggling to try and find a way of solving this problem, and we really haven't had much success so far, and we would appreciate the Minister's help. We would hope that Housing Solutions will at some point compensate these poor residents for the way they've been treated, and indeed buy them out of these properties if possible, because it is absolutely appalling to live next to a haulage yard, to be constantly interrupted by noise from HGVs, driving past at all hours of the day and night. The air pollution from diesel particulates and nitrous oxide is deeply worrying. There's no way of protecting children and other vulnerable people in that situation, and I'm sure the whole House would agree no one would want that for their constituents. There's clearly an issue also with planning law that maybe needs to be addressed, looking at the risk of air pollution or putting housing in too close proximity to industrial development as well. I just wanted to finally move on to one other area, just to reiterate the points made by other colleagues about the wider issue of leasehold, and the way in which it is a completely out-of-date system and is totally unfair to many first-time buyers and other householders, whether they are young residents, people who are in leasehold properties for a long period of time, or indeed, as the Honourable Gentleman from New Forest West said, older residents. Really, this system should come to an end. It is a feudal system. We are unique as a country in having this. Surely we need to end the system once and for all and move on from it. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.